What's going on, world? Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Got another controversial discussion today. These are my 10 dating discussions before you consider a long-term, serious relationship with someone. Y'all read the title? Without further ado, let's get busy. All right, first and foremost, number one is religion. Right? Me personally, I'm a Christian. I'm a man of God. Reason why I say religion is prominent as far as considering who you're going to be dealing with long-term wise, because a lot of principles, a lot of standards, a lot of morals, a lot of perceptions, core values, everything in between has to align. All the objective stuff has to align for a long-term situation, so that way everything that's subjective can be sort of worked around the parameters of what the actual relationship and the dynamic is supposed to represent. So that's easy. That's number one. Number two is kids. Discussing kids, like if you got kids, you don't got kids, the discipline, parental style, far as, is it physical discipline? Is it grounding and other different forms of punishment? How many kids do you want? All that has to be factored in, and discussed, because, people start to, blend their other interests, and never, when things get serious and certain talking points get discussed, this could be a very hard conversation if you already built a foundation in a relationship with somebody, right? Number three, lifestyle. So considering lifestyle, this is in and out the house, finances, gender roles. Are you paying 50-50? Your credit score? Do you have a 5-year plan? Scheduling date nights, what kind of dates, vacations, do you have investments put to the side, so on and so forth. So I feel like lifestyle, far as, what do you spend your money on? How much are you saving? Who do you keep around? What do you do with these people that you keep around? I feel like those parameters, you definitely have to touch on those points to kind of get a better outlook on what's life going to be like with this person long term, right? So you just throw all certain circumstances and scenarios and hypotheticals just to get a good a good feel on how you want that person to fit in your life, or vice versa, how you want to fit in their lives, or so on and so forth, right? So number four is love languages. Now, a lot of people don't understand what love languages, but love languages, I do feel like is important, because it's understanding a person's nature and how they would like to be treated. Because I feel like when certain people have a certain dating history, they feel like they know how to treat the next person, and all you got to do is copy and paste. And sometimes that's not, you got to relearn somebody all over again, as if you never dated before, because there may be certain things you've never encountered before. And the 5 love languages specifically, and you can go into detail about what they represent and how you need to enact them to kind of, treat the person how they want to be treated instead of how you think they would like to be treated. It's acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and quality time. So when you're implementing these, you just have to have that conversation with that person, so there's no misconceptions of feeling used or feeling like you're taken advantage of. It's just, everybody has a certain way of how they would like to be treated, and there are cases where there's multiple different love languages that people are receptive to. It's just a priority list on which one what they would like over the other, So number 5 is health. So we're talking about vices, mental health, trauma, childhood trauma, maybe family history, far as certain things that you might pass down to your kids, things that are hereditary. So it's dieting, it's exercise, it's fitness. What is your health like? Do you eat correctly? All these things are important because, if you have two different eating palates and two different perceptions of what's good for your body, then you can implement that same, ideology towards your kids, and that could be a beef because, it's gonna be a lot of no's and yes and maybes and no telling, and I feel like even if that's being discussed, you're not gonna talk about every food across the table, but I feel like you should have a general understanding of what both of y'all putting into your bodies. And hey, I get it, it's differences. You're not gonna like what the next person likes because that's what makes everybody different. Everybody has their own individual circumstances and stuff like that. Number 6, politics. So politics in particular, like what are your views on violence? What are your views on policies? What are your views on just certain agendas, certain news networks like ABC, NBC, Fox News, CNN? What are the agendas in certain narratives? Do you have a multi-dimensional perspective where you're able to weigh out both sides? Are you far left regarding Democrat or far right regarding Republican? Just the whole political spectrum, and seeing where do your values as far as society and what place do you feel like you need to play a part in it along with the person that you're dating, right? So that, and that could be a very touchy subject because it could expose a lot of people's intentions on how they wired in their upcomings and things like that. So you can definitely, it's not an easy conversation to have, and most people don't touch on those things because it feels like it ruins the chemistry of the relationship. But you need to know who you're laying down in the bed with every night and their viewpoints and their vantage points, instead of letting the situation come to you and then finding out the hard way, right? So moving on to number 7, interests. So we're talking about hobbies, entertainment, sense of humor, right? Motivations, ambitions. What drives you? What inspires you? What makes you at the end of the day? What are your abilities, your talents, your the things that you're good at, playing to your strengths, So, and there's also things that you may not even went out your way to try, that the other person has experienced and then could give you a first-hand perspective, you feel me, or a second-hand perspective in this case, and you can have a reconsideration on something that you may have a misconception on. So definitely found that interesting, no pun intended, as far as interest, you feel me, and that's the fun part, because you can honestly discover a lot about a person due to what they're into and the things that they're experiencing and stuff like that. Number 8, social dynamics. So do you like going out? Do you like social events? Do you invite people over to your house? Are you introverted and like to be alone? Do you have a big family? Do you not have a lot of family? Do you allow your family to having a second opinion on your relationships, as far as you coming to them and them having a non-biased opinion? Or do you got some haters in your family where if you come to them, even though you feel like they mean well, they got a hidden agenda? So that goes in a lot, goes to like childhood, childhood experiences, things that you dealt with, a lot of uncomfortable conversations. But if you let it out there and a person is patient enough to take 2 steps back and to understand, have the patience enough to understand somebody's upbringing, even if they can't, relate to it, then I feel like that opens up a conversation, just for different perspectives to be thrown to the table and see what it is and see what it isn't. Number 9, education. How educated are you? Education may not be just purely academic. You know, what do you study? What is your reading comprehension like? What is your situational comprehension like? Are you experienced in many different facets of, you know, life experiences where, you know, you just have a well of experience and circumstance that you can be resourceful and you can be impactful to the next person. You know, so education isn't just, like I said, academic. I'm talking about education on life. You know, do you know how to deal with people? Do you know how to deal with kids? Do you know how to deal with friends? Do you know how to deal with their workplace? You know, do you know how to network? So on and so forth. So, you know, are you always trying to improve yourself? You know, what is your IQ like? You know, very important. And number 10, last but not least, and I feel like this is more so correlating towards the fellas. And I'm gonna say that just because me personally, I've struggled with this. What is your relationship style, right? Your relationship style. Do you like, you know, your relationship style regarding how is your dynamic in the relationship? Do you allow friends and family to chime in on your personal business? You know, because maybe you have a friend group where it's relationships and couples, and maybe people are able to compare and contrast maybe their transgressions and their situations, and y'all growing as a unit. Or maybe you're more so secluded and incognito, and you don't like a lot of people all in your business, and you know, you're over there kissing and telling. And you know, because what I find a problem is like when you are kissing and telling and you thinking that people that got love for you or perceive that got love for you mean well, they can take those same deficiencies and those same weaknesses and weaponize it against you and try to talk down on the person that, you know, you dating, just because you giving them a perspective that they low-key hating on, you know, that they wish they was even, you know, there are such things as good problems. But the point is like, who do you involve and how are they involved within your dynamic, if they're even involved at all? And also as well is it monogamous? Is it an open relationship? Is it polygamous? Is it polyamorous? I feel like, and the reason why I kind of specifically have this one for the guys is because I feel like, you know, a lot of guys aren't open and honest on what they would like their life to be, and they try to get their cake and eat it too. And I'm not saying females don't do it either, okay? I'm just saying that on both sides, you feel me? I feel like the relationship style and a lot of these points that I've listed, the best thing is to think hard about a scenario or a situation, and you give them trivial questions on how they would be able to respond to a situation like that. So with that being said, those are my 10 discussion, dating, talking points before considering a serious relationship with somebody. If you got to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. More videos on the way. I'm up out of here.